There you
There you go.
Winning.
Brilliant.
Okay. Cool. So, Rod, the F in BFM doesn't stand for what you think it is.
Yeah.
It actually stands for fish. Big fish, minnow. Yeah. So, this is a fly that has been responsible for some nice fish in the Camberg and Natal Midlands. It actually came from he's now a mate of ours. I won't give his name away because everyone will give him a hassle. But he's responsible for stocking just about every water that we fish in the Camberg, as far down to Underberg and the Swartberg as well. So he's got a good idea and understanding of some of the anatomy that's part of that region. And he sent me a picture just before our Camberg festival earlier this year, or something to try out. And it's similar to this, so I've just made one or two tweaks to it. So I don't really want to call it my fly, but it's definitely a fly that I've sort of come accustomed to, if you want to call it that. And it is responsible for big fish. It's not a fly that catches a lot of fish, but if you're serious enough to keep it on and work it in different areas, shallow waters, sort of points where the dam sort of bends around into a corner, there's definitely a drop off or a bit of structure there. There's always a big fish that's going to be holding there, and they tend to take it. So they also, the bigger fish tend to take this before the smaller ones. I think the smallest one I've got on this fly is about 50 centimeters. So it's definitely a fly that you need to put on at least a 1x to, well, I'd say probably at least a 2x tippet. They hit the fly really hard, so that's what's exciting about it. You can fish it in tandem with something else as well, but you are looking for a little bit of trouble, as you'll probably have this right on the point. So I would generally fish it alone, unless something's really not happening. I would put something else up in front of it, just get a bit of traction. But you'll see this top bit over here, which is unusual about this fly, is that it's completely loose. So the zonker, normally a normal zonker you'd buy at the shops, would be tied down at the back, so it restricts the movement, and only really this piece of the fly moves. This thing is completely loose, and it's this fly moves up and down like that. Okay. I'm going to pass it around there, please. Okay, so the hook we're going to use, can you see that? Yeah, it's a grip, long shank, size 6. You can play around in different sizes. There's definitely not one particular size, but it's just really the one that I've sort of stuck with over the last couple of months. And thread is not really an issue. Like I said in the email to Barry, you can literally use pink if you want, because at the end of the day it's just going to get covered up. I'll just use white because you can always cover it up if you need to with a different color. Okay, you'll see I started it sort of a third of the way down, or maybe just less than a third, because you're going to try and build the fly towards the head, and then right at the end we're going to put on one of those. It's just a fish mask. You can use what's this stuff called? UV. That's just the mission. I don't actually know how to use it, must be honest. So this is a lot easier for me, and you can just stick on some ice. So this fly is scruffy. Doesn't look attractive, but really when it's in the water, it's got a lacquer profile, and it's that action of that tail really gives it a.
Was it imitating in cages earlier?
Sorry.
What is the fish is imitating? The minnow it's imitating. What is it?
Yeah, it's definitely a minnow, but you'll see with the colours and the different contrasts, it doesn't look anything like a minnow you're going to find in the water. It's just got a ton of attractions. So I think with the tail, number one, the big head with big eyes, and then I normally tied with this pink fluoro as a bit of a gill plate. So it really gives it a good indicator.
So there is a particular barb that you get in the town.
There is.
Chubby barb.
Chubby barb, yeah. Or the chub head barb, I think they call it as well.
So it is quite a chunky little minnow. It doesn't swim very well.
Correct.
So this could also lend to that particular one, especially where he says he's fishing it. So in the shallows, and also it's sorts of things.
So,
And I mean, the minnows in general work unbelievably well in the minnows for
They definitely do.
ages.
I mean, if you go and walk around the edges, you'll see small little bait fish scattering around. But I've caught some fish. I'll actually send the pictures around now, where the fish that I've caught has regurgitated a minnow the same size as this fly. So it's really big. It's probably 7 to 8 centimeters long. And like I said, you're not going to catch a lot of fish, but the fish you do catch are big hungry ones. Okay, so there's different colours. I normally tie it with a brown zonker. So I start off just to use the belly or the sort of the abdomen region is this Deadly Dazzle. I've got SF blend for the guys who tie with. It's pretty much the same thing. What's nice about the Deadly Dazzle is it's got a bit of UV in it, so where it also gives it another bit of attraction. And then just above the white belly, I normally use a bit of this coppery brown. But again, you can play around with different colours. There's also the green camo, which will work as well. But tonight we're going to be using the bleeding black, which has also got a couple of different attractors in it. So it's black, red, and blue flash, which actually look quite nice. I haven't tied it in this colour before. Okay, so and the nice thing about this is I'd rather use too much material than too little. I know I often say less is more, but the nice thing about this is you're actually going to cut it back, so just try to get that natural sort of shape. It's terrible being left-handed. Scissors never work. Okay, so don't worry about all this at the front. We're going to fold it back. The nice thing about this Deadly Dazzle, it's got quite a stiff sort of feel to it. So you might be wondering if that zonker tail wraps around the shank. It doesn't. This actually gives it a nice profile, almost like a tail guard to stop it wrapping around. Okay. Taking notes, Idris?
On paper and in mind, yes.
Barry, there's definitely a better turnout than last month, eh?
Yeah, last one was good. Maybe I shouldn't say that in house.
last month there was confusion about which day it was on.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, so we're just going to really stack this on top here and try to build a nice sort of profile towards the head.
That darker colour, Gav.
No, not yet.
Same colour.
Yeah, same colour.
Spinning it, yeah?
No. No, guys, I don't know how to do that, but
You haven't fished this in the salt yet, yeah?
I haven't. But I have no doubt this will work in
Because it
the
looks
salt.
brilliant, yeah. It's bulky and
Yeah,
it's light, but still bulky.
correct. Okay. Let's cut this piece over here. Right, you just want to make sure these thread wraps are nice and tight because the stuff does spin around on the shank. But you can sort of get the idea of where this is going now. Okay, then we're going to turn it around upside down. And the idea is just to cover the shank of the hook. You can wrap. You can do lead wraps as well. But this is really best fished on a on a floating line or an intermediate, that's probably my favorite to fish this on. It's got a neutral buoyancy, so it just really goes down with your line, and it's got a bit of movement as it's going down as well. So watch out for those takes on the drop as well. So I guess if you are fishing much deeper water, a couple of lead wraps won't do you any harm.
Everybody seen it? Okay.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so what you're going to try to do here is just try and split it. Can you see what I'm doing here? Try and split it around the point of the hook. It's going to look messy, it's going to look like there's a lot of thread, but I promise you those fish, they're not fussy when they see this in the water. Mark, when I saw you at Klifzig the other day, this is what I got those fish on there. Yeah. Like bow waves.
Was that a competition down there?
No, my wife and I went there for a night.
Okay.
She didn't know there was fishing though.
I think it was the way to solve it, okay?
Family outing.
Yeah, it was.
But you probably gave a lunch as well.
And a snack just before dinner.
And you had to pay your way, what?
Yeah. Yeah, just double on each side. He's trying to build up that profile, that's all you're trying to do. You're going to cut it all back. Okay, and this last little bit underneath, you want to keep this side a little bit shorter, because that's going to give it a bit of a pointier sort of profile at the bottom. Oops, and do that. Okay. Okay, that on the top. And to be honest, I've never really experimented with different colours, so that's something I'm yet to try. Only done it, like I said, in brown with a natural body. So I think black and olive will definitely be a good option as well. So you don't even have to put this this black on top, but I just think it gives it a nice contrast, and you can make it up for yourselves. You can really turn this flower into your own.
But the original pattern also had the loose anchor.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
So that
Loose
would be,
anchor.
that's the key
So I think so. Just
to movement.
I would agree with you there. Yeah, definitely, Dress. So again, you just want to fold it back. You're going to trim most of this black off anyway.
Pinch
You
between
said
your
it
fingers.
was going to be slipping.
Pinch loop between your fingers.
There we go. Just trying to build a bit of a bigger head here. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so now now's the fun part, just to try and cut this to shape. And the idea is to try and tie these as quickly as you can.
Show in front of the camera, Gavin.
Sorry, I can. Okay.
No pressure.
This is good.
I think it's one little list. So the thing that's quite nice with this actually is if you tie it in a slightly bigger size, it's a nice spot for large and yellows,
Yeah,
spot for bass. And then you just play around with the hook, so tied on the beating edge. And you've got perfect fly for bass and for largies and those sorts.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the giraffe is also got the rabbit slip. This is pure nice. No, just like that. With bait fish. See on the original, you don't have a lateral line tied in, okay?
No, I don't tie the lateral line, because I think this contrast between the black and the white, or the copper and the white that I use, sort of gives it that lateral line, yeah.
Have you tried trying to rattle with it?
No,
Serious?
no, I haven't.
The little glass rattles you buy, right?
Space for a cowboy. Children, no children. No.
That's quite interesting to me. Because it's so bulky and not fly that you get away with it.
But would it move enough? If you put a bead in front, then you'll have a up and down movement for the rattle. But I don't think you're going to get it here.
Station, you're just stripping it. It should rattle every time you strip it. Back and forth. So go next year you can tie the rattle version.
I've seen those in the shops, eh?
You can rattle everybody's cage.
I thought it was for more like saltwater.
Yeah, a lot of guys use meat bass and stuff. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
nice work.
this will work for bass as well, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the idea is you're just trying to get this minnow shape. And you want to cut this before you put the zonk on, otherwise I've cut the zonk off before.
Good haircut.
So you have like 3 patterns over a pack of essay.
Yeah. So like a lot of waste here. But that SF's not too expensive, so
Number 4 or number 2?
no, it's 4 on the top, 2 on the sides.
What year would you use again?
The belly is Deadly Dazzle, so it's similar to the SF, but I think it's just a little bit more rigid.
Yeah.
Which shop sells them?
You'll get it at Maven Garners. Ryan, you listening? Now any of the fishing shops.
Yeah.
Well, the Deadly Dazzle is a bit harder to come by, but the SF blend you'll get everywhere.
I was talking about the fly. That looks like hard work.
It's just the trimming.
Yeah.
If you got better scissors, you'll go through this a lot quicker.
Who sells the Deadly Dazzle?
It's in Mia's. Mia's, that's why I got this.
Yeah, muse. Okay.
Okay, now you can sort of start getting that proper shape here. You can probably put eyes on this thing and it'll work now. Also, what you want to try and do, if you can see here, try to keep the sides slightly fatter than the fronts and the back. Once this thing's wet, it sort of all sucks together, and it does give that almost like a papa roach type of shape. Okay.
Can I see the gate?
Yeah, I'll try to cover it up as much as I can. I know a lot of guys like to. Sorry?
Aren't you concerned?
No, because the stuff is soft, and the fish hit this thing so hard, Charlie.
Yeah.
You don't really need to worry about the gap.
Okay.
Or
Sort
of clearing it out.
Just to make sure it stays as a weed guard. But the fibre is soft enough that it will push back when it gets eaten. I mean, it hasn't built up a big sort of head base, so shouldn't really prevent the gap.
okay, I'm going to build up that head base now, though.
There we go.
Okay, let's sort of cover that up there now as well. You might be thinking that this looks quite untidy, which it does.
That's why you use those fish guards.
No. Well, yes. Okay, so now I'm just going to use a little couple of strands of this. Again, don't be too scared to go too thick. You guys might be thinking this fly looks chunky, but you can always trim down on the water if you want to as well.
Have you tried these in different sizes, okay?
I haven't, Gaz, I must be honest.
It would be interesting to sort of tie one or fish a big one on the point and a small one on the
Yeah,
tail.
definitely. You might get a couple more fish like that.
And then it gives you a gauge of what size of it they're feeding on.
Correct, yeah. Okay, then you want to just fold that one back again. And I've tried with different lengths of this pink, and there's not really any particular sort of amount that comes through. Right-handed scissors. Okay, there's almost like a little skirt underneath. And red will work. You can play around with different colors, I'm sure. In fact, the original one was red. Okay, then lastly, just a tiny bit of SF on the side here.
What colour?
Same color,
Yeah,
the black.
again.
To cover up the mess.
I mean, you can also make the lives a little bit easier with these things. You can buy those little 1-inch brushes from the fishing shops. So they well, in the saltwater section. Very similar color variations to what Gav's tying with at the moment. So if you don't want to stack it or trim it too much to shape and those sorts of things, you can buy the brush and just use that as an alternative.
It's not a bad idea, yeah.
There's a couple of nice colors, those natural, like turquoisey, blue and green, which is similar to what Gav's got there now. And well, I've got a nice array.
You guys know it's much fun.
No, but I'm wary that we might not get home tonight.
She's like this.
I'll buy you the next bit.
Okay, last step. Second last step. Okay, so we're just going to tie the black zonk onto the end, just in front of the eye of the hook. I just tend to peel a bit off and cut a slight triangle. I don't know if you can see that. The longest part of this fire is really just cutting it. I mean, you can see how quickly it is to put together. And really just place that right on the top there. And again, it's going to look as messy as you want, because that eye is going to go right over it. Okay, so the length of this tail is probably double the length of the shank. And you might think this is really big for trout, but if you're looking for good fish, I always believe that big fish eat big food. Roger's caught massive fish on size 18 nymphs. I don't know how to fish that, so. Okay, I was tied off. Okay. Oops. Okay, there's a little bit of super glue to hold that down. The zonker tail will never come off.
mean, this fly will last for a good couple of fish, eh?
It does. I mean, I find with those stick-on eyes or the epoxy, it does. The eyes do tend to come off at some stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so with that super glue on there, you literally just place this right over. Be careful that the glue doesn't set too quickly. At the same time, it keeps it all together as well.
I suppose you also play with the fish skull concept as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You want the slightly heavier one, as opposed to just with the mask, it's just the skull.
Okay, then the last part is just to put on some stick-on eyes. Okay, with these stick-on eyes, I normally use the 3D eyes, but we couldn't get those unfortunately. The 3D eyes give it a really nice shape, or a nice sort of translucency. So this is another big attractor on this fly is the head and the eyes. So this might be a little bit big, but it's definitely going to get the attention of a big fish. There's no doubt. And if you see those chubby barbs, they've got big heads and big eyes. So okay, and then just to make sure that those don't come off. Here's Charlie.
That head thing you put on, can you just put it in front of the camera?
Yeah, there we go. It's called a fish mask.
In
Towards your chest.
front.
In front of the fly. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. So these things are like hen's teeth to come by.
Yeah.
But if you can get your hands on them, they're pretty nice to work with. Okay, and then just to make sure the stick-on eyes don't come off, just put a bit of super glue around the edges of it. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So you can see the attractors. It's got the UV in the body, definitely this pink little girth or throat region, and this tail goes absolutely nuts in the water. I mean, you normally see a fish moving like this. This one goes up and down like it. And if you just put it in front of your float tube or along the water, you'll get a really good idea of how this fly moves.
You didn't see trolling, did you?
That works as well. Okay, cool.
Thank you, well done. Did you finish it off?
No, don't need to, because
So you're using half inches.
I just use the half pitch for this, yeah, just to do it a bit quicker.
You normally go finish.
I do.